Curly Howard was the stage name of Jerome Lester, Jerry Horwitz, an American comedian and vaudevillian, along with his older brothers, Mo Howard and Shemp Howard. And actor Larry Fine, he is best remembered as a member of the American slapstick comedy team, the Three Stooges.
Pump! To the pump! To the pump! To the pump! 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 Oh! Oh, Mo, I didn't mean it. Look, stop it! Wait a minute! I'll murder you. You ain't got time.
Curly is often regarded as the most well-known and identifiable of the Three Stooges. His high-pitched voice, vocal expressions, as well as his inventive physical comedy, improvisations, and athleticism have made him a household name. Curly was an unskilled actor and natural comedian who copied and exaggerated the woo from nervous and soft-spoken comedian Hugh Herbert, but was generally a unique and inspired performance. By the time of the Stooges' second film, Punch Drunks in 1934, Curly's unique version of woo was well established. Curly Howard was definitely the Three Stooges' star. By the end of the 1930s, his youthful mannerisms and natural humorous charm endeared him to audiences, especially children. In the act, he was known for possessing an indestructible skull that always won out by destroying whatever was thrown at it, most notably fake saw blades. His humorous ability was purely spontaneous, as he had no formal acting instruction. Curly's strength, however, began to fade by 1944. Curly was shown in films like Idle Rumors and Booby Doobs with a deeper voice and slower actions. Curly booked himself into Cottage Hospital in Santa Barbara, California on January 23, 1945. After filming Idiots Deluxe at Mo's request, and was diagnosed with severe hypertension, a retinal hemorrhage, and obesity. Due to Curly's ailing health, just 5 short films were released in 1945. The normal output was 6 to 8 films per year. Howard is also thought to have had the first of a series of minor strokes at this time. Mo begged Harry Cohn to give Howard some time off when he was discharged, so he could regain his strength. Cohn angrily rebuffed Mo's plea to discontinue the production of his lucrative Stooge shorts. Author Michael Fleming said, "It was a terrible course of action." Curly's gestures and mannerisms were considerably slower in the first film made after his stroke, The Mediocre If a Body Meets a Body. Curly may be a good film in the hands of a compassionate filmmaker, like Edward Burns. This was due to Burns' diligent efforts to find ways for the ailing Stooge to remain the star, while not actually contributing much. Burns factored in the fact that Curly was no longer in his peak in films, like Monkey Businessman, in which Curly had to be trained by Mo on camera, microphonies, and a bird in the head. Jules White, for example, just switched the action to Mo and Larry. Films like Beer Barrel Polecats and Uncivil Warbirds were at best bad, but they clearly demonstrated Curly's plight. Three Lone Wolves and Rhythm and Weep, 2 of Jules White's works, clearly show a sick Curly, as evidenced by his significantly slower motions. When filming Three Little Pirates, however, Ed Burns was fortunate enough to catch the ill Stooge on an up day. Curly appeared to be getting better, and there was some hope that his sickness would be under control soon. Burns subsequently commented, "I guess I should be glad that Curly was in one of his up times. He was fantastic in Three Little Pirates. It was the old Curly's final spark." Curly's final appearance as a member of the Stooges would be in Half-Wit's Holiday. The comedy Koi Pale was remade in this film. Curly suffered a major stroke while waiting to film the final sequence of The Day on May 6, 1946. While sitting in director Jules White's chair, Curly did not respond when the assistant director summoned him on the stage. Mo went in search of his brother and discovered Curly with his head bowed to his breast. Curly's lips was disfigured and he couldn't speak. All he could do was cry, according to Mo. Mo secretly informed filmmaker Jules White about Howard's predicament, prompting White to alter the scenario to include Mo and Larry. After filming for Half-Wit's Holiday finished, Curly was brought to the hospital, where Mo joined him. Curly moved to the Motion Picture and Television Country House and Hospital in Woodland Hills, California, after being released from the hospital. Curly met Valerie Newman, whom he married on July 31, 1947. while still recovering from his stroke. Valerie was the one decent thing that happened to Curly, and the only one that genuinely cared for him, a friend, Irma Levitin, later recounted. Valerie gave birth to a daughter, Jenny, in 1948, despite his health continuing to deteriorate following the marriage. Curly suffered a second severe stroke later that year, which left him partially paralyzed. By 1950, he was in a wheelchair and his diet consisted of boiling rice and apples to help him lose weight. Curly's condition remained unchanged. On August 29, 1950, Valerie admitted him to the Motion Picture Country House and Hospital. Curly was discharged after several months of treatment and medical examinations, though he would return on occasion until his death. Curly was admitted to a nursing facility in February 1951, where he suffered another stroke a month later. He moved into the North Hollywood Hospital and Sanitarium in April. Moe was approached on the Columbia set. While filming, he cooked his goose on January 7, 1952, to aid in transferring Curly for the final time. Curly died 11 days later, on January 18, of a major brain hemorrhage at the age of 48.